guys, it is Thursday. We are in a new week. I don't know when I'm going to start this vlog off, but it probably will be today. But how are you guys feeling? I slept very interestingly last night. It wasn't the greatest sleep, but that's okay. I feel like I've been my energy hasn't been as low. Like, I used to take B12, but it was kind of making me break out, so I was looking for like natural sources of energy. But I don't know, even when I sleep, I feel like I'm getting better quality sleep, which means I'm not as tired. The only thing that I've been doing differently is taking zinc and magnesium. And I know magnesium, the type of strain that I take, is supposed to be good for sleep. So sorry, I'm looking all over the place, I'm driving. But yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good today. Today's gonna be my planning day. Like I said, I'm rearranging my schedule, and I always talk about the importance of a flexible work schedule because life happens. Like, you're not gonna have the same day every single day, but you can still live an organized and peaceful life that has structure and flexibility. So instead of doing my planning on Friday, I'm going to do my planning today because I did a lot of teaching yesterday, and I just need like a mental refresh. So I'm gonna do some planning today for the week. I have a coffee meeting with my friend's mom today, which I'm really excited. I haven't seen her in a really long time, so we're about to go get, I think they sell tea or coffee, either way. I'm gonna go there. What else are we doing today? We're going to the library to get a new novel. I have been trying to find things to replace just like scrolling when I'm bored, and so I really enjoy reading, but sometimes I don't always want to read something that I'm sorry, the camera's shaking, but sometimes I don't always want to read something that's educational. Sometimes I just kind of want to go into a different world, and so I'm reading some nonfiction. I've read a few novels before, and let's just say I'm finding what I like, because some of these novels are just not it. But other than that, I'm excited about this morning coffee. Then we're going, like I said, we're going to the library, and then when I get back, depending on how I feel after all the planning for the week, I'm probably going to do some laundry. That way tomorrow I can just meal prep, I can go grocery shopping, I can meal prep, and I can just enjoy the rest of my weekend. You guys know, I told you on the first vlog that I'm trying to get back to the Sabbath on Sundays. But I feel like since life has been life, and my sisters had dance competitions, like I've had to go places, it's just been a lot. So that's my plan, is to try to get back on a more structured place. But other than that, I got a lot done this week. I taught my coaching program. I taught my program for my nonprofit that's been going on. What else did I do? I did a lot of email marketing things behind the scenes for the coaching program, some restructuring of my landing pages, and I've been really studying up on copywriting. It's something that I really enjoy, and then copywriting is a huge part of sales and marketing. So that's what I have been working on. And yeah, I will check back in with you guys after I have this meeting and we go to the library. What's up, family, and happy Saturday. Today I just feel so at peace. I finished up my quiet time with God about an hour ago, and it was so refreshing. If you've ever been in like a wilderness processing season and you've had like a why me moment, sometimes life starts to life and everything isn't gravy, and God has really been teaching me how to trust in his character during those times. And so I was reading about the Israelites and how, God led them through the wilderness out of slavery from the Egyptians. And there was a period of time where they were, they became hungry and they started to grumble and complain to Moses about like how God brought them out here to suffer and like they were better off as slaves and all those other things. And then, Moses cried out to God and the Lord provided them manna, food from heaven. And then there was another part where they began to be very thirsty, right? They were going to a new place and they were very, very thirsty. It says they were tormented by thirst. And then they began to grumble and complain again to God, to Moses, saying like, why did you bring us out here basically to die by thirst? And I remember, right after that, God provided water from them from the rock. And I remember thinking to myself, like, how patient God is, even in the midst of like such a people that should know him better, right, through the experiences that he has brought them through, right? Like these are the same people who God literally just parted the Red Sea, made the water stand up like walls for them, like drowned their enemies. Like this is the same God. And so I remember just being like, this question, like, why did you allow them to get to the point of, being tormented by thirst and tormented by hunger before you provided for them, right? And that answer didn't come till like a couple days later. But today I was reading, and let me get my journal real quick. But basically in Deuteronomy, it gives the answer to that question of why God allowed them to be tormented by thirst or tormented by hunger before he provided for them. And it says that it was a test to see if they would obey the Lord and remember him, but also it was like a humbling process for them, because at the end of the day, God was bringing them into a place of milk and honey, right? A promise that was an abundant land where they would lack for nothing. But before they got to that land, he wanted to make sure that they wouldn't be so proud and think that they had gotten themselves there, that they would foolishly turn away from him. And it reminded me that, like, even in the times where we feel like we're lacking something, or we feel like God allows us to go through a season of lack, like sometimes we can feel like a why me? But at the end of the day, like, it's always God's intention to bring us into what he promised. And I think we can get so distracted. Well, I'll speak for myself. I got so distracted by the season that I was in that I forgot that, like, God intends to bring me to this promise. And I remember coming across something on social media where somebody said that the process is not the promise, right? But you feel like you've been enduring for so long, that's not the promise that God has for you. It's the processing that he's taking you through, but it's not the promise. And we have to remember that even in times of testing and times it seems like we may be lacking something, like God will sometimes dry up things to remind you that he's the one that provides for you. And I think that is such a humbling thing to go through, because even though in the beginning when God begins to, give you that promise, like sometimes you can forget because it feels like you're the one sustaining yourself. But when you realize that it has been God who's been sustaining you all along, it's a humbling process. But I just say all that to say it was just so beautiful how patient the Lord was with them, and how his love, right, even in the disciplining of them, allowing them to go through that period where they were tormented by thirst and hunger, and still providing for them supernaturally, like in his love, he disciplined them and prepared them for where he was taking them, right? Because if he had not taken them through that, they would have definitely done exactly what God said, turned away from them. And some of them did, but there was a faithful people who remained loyal to his regulations and his decrees and continued to serve him. And thankfully they did, because that is, how we're here today. And so just a reminder, like, no matter what season you're in, if you're feeling like you're in a season of lack or things weren't coming to you as easily as they were before, remember God's character, that he is good, he is faithful, he is true, he is just, right? Sometimes we can feel like seasons are unfair, but God is a just and fair God, and we'll never be able to fully comprehend why he does the things that he does, but we can always remember his character and that there is no evil within God. He has plans to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us a hope and a future, and that thing is always in his mind, right? What he promised, what he said, his word is always in his mind, and time and the process does not change what God promised. Whatever God originally spoke to you, whatever he said he was bringing you into, it's always top of his mind, just like you are. And it doesn't matter, you know, how long it takes. His intentions are always the same, to get you to what he promised, and that to get you to really know him in a more intimate way. So I just wanted to share that because my quiet time was too good. But again, today's Saturday. I finished my quiet time. I actually woke up on time today. I'm so grateful to be closer back to like my routine, my schedule. So today I am going grocery shopping. Right after that, I am going to fold up some laundry. I'll probably come and talk to you guys then, just to update you about what's been going on. I'm going to the library. I put a book on hold a while ago, and I think it's still there, so I'm hoping that it's still there. I told you guys I've been reading instead of like trying to scroll. I definitely am about to take a what I like to call an information fast, because I feel like I've been consuming more than I create, and that has been like the trigger point for a lot of the things I've been dealing with. So I'm going to take an information fast and just focus on feeding myself with, you know, God's word, and also creating and not, like I said, consuming. So that's something that I really recommend often. What else am I doing today? I said grocery shopping. I already planned out my week, so that's really good. I did that on Friday like I usually do. And then later I have to finish up editing a vlog that's gonna go out next week, and then I'm going skating. I told you guys that I've been really looking for a community, so we found a church that we really like, so we are going to an event that they're having tonight, a skating event, and I'm excited because y'all know me, a little introverted. I'm trying to put myself in positions, right? Like sometimes we pray for God to connect us with community and friends and all those other things, but then we don't take the necessary steps to put ourselves in position to receive those things, right? Like if you're praying for friends and community, like you're not gonna find it sitting in your house. So me and my brother are going to that tonight. It's raining and gross outside, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna be super fun. So yeah, guys, that is Saturday. Tomorrow I'm praying to be able to do the Sabbath, which I'm really excited. Complete day of rest. I don't think I'll be on. I'm gonna turn my phone off and really just focus on being in God's presence, enjoying the company of my family, and making sure that I am resting. So yeah. So happy Saturday. Let me know what you guys' Saturday plans are whenever you're watching this. How's your week going? And we'll talk soon. Bye. So while I'm waiting for my car to heat up, I forgot to tell you guys what we're having for meal prep this week. Last week I went to Trader Joe's. Like I said, I'm not really a Trader Joe's girly. I prefer to make my meals from scratch, although it's very convenient to go and have sometimes, you know, meals just made up. But last week I tried the beef and broccoli from Trader Joe's, which was a miss for me. I don't like the way the meat tasted, and it smelled really bad. But let me tell you what was good. That beef burrito, the little taco, amazing. Okay, that has been going viral for a while, and usually I don't really try like viral foods or whatever, but that was a 10 out of 10 with the tortillas, some onion, lime, and cilantro. Amazing. Okay, really, really, really good. And then the last thing I tried was the vegetable fried rice, which I really like. And then I always get the dark chocolate espresso beans, because I don't really like to drink coffee every day, and I don't like necessarily feeling like I have to drink something to have energy. So I like the dark chocolate espresso beans because I can just pop about like 5 or 6 and have like a good amount of energy throughout the day. So that wasn't a hit or miss. I think I would definitely get the tacos again. I would definitely get the fried rice again. But this week I am having charred chicken, fried rice with like sauteed green beans and onions. I'm really excited. I go to Miski's to get their sauce. I don't even know if they sell the sauce, but if they did, I would buy the bottle, but I don't know if they do, so I'm just gonna go there and get the sauce. And then I'm gonna use the fried rice from Trader Joe's. I'm going to bake some chicken thighs, and then, like I said, saute some green beans and some onions. And that's gonna be my first meal. And then I'm also going to make curry potato with chickpeas. I love curry. Sometimes like I just want to break from meat. I feel like, you know, there's only but so many different meat options, but I really like curry potato because it's very filling. So that's gonna be my other meal, and then I have some like snacks sprinkled in between. I don't really buy like a lot of junk food or sweet things because I live in a house full of 6 people who always are eating something sweet, so I don't really buy that. But I do buy like sunflower seeds for when I'm craving something salty, or like pita chips, kettle chips, something like that. And I like trail mix, so I think those are gonna be like my snacks. And I want to do some fruit, but I don't really know which one. So my car's heated up. Let's head to the grocery store. Y'all, tell me why I almost got ran over by one of those money trucks. You know, them little armored trucks that be coming to deliver the money. I stepped out of TJ Maxx and this man was flying in the parking lot. It was about to be a serious payday for me if I would have survived. But God is good, okay? Angel jumped right in front of that car and was like, not my child. But yeah, I'm finally on my way to Trader Joe's, y'all. And I'm gonna turn this off because it's all bumpy and acting crazy. All right, quick little grocery haul. I told you guys I stopped past Miski's to get some plantains and then their sauces. Then I got some butter potatoes, some lemons. They're really good beef burrito tacos. This is one of the few things that I like from Trader Joe's. I got some new cutting boards, some green beans, some fried rice, and then some chicken thighs for the like big chicken. And I'm making baked chicken, fried rice, green beans with like onions, with the little Peruvian sauce. I got these non-dairy frozen sandwiches. These are really, really good. Some bananas. I need a new knife. Some limes. Some chickpeas for my curry potato, which I'm making with the butter potatoes. Some brown sugar oatmeal. Some protein bars. Some apple cinnamon little bite thingies. I love these little... what are they called? That was my braid, y'all. Mind your business. These little McMuffin sandwiches, English muffins, some thyme for the curry, and some tortillas, and some beef smoked sausage. So that is what we're eating for this week and a half. So that is what we're eating for this week/week and a half. So when I meal prep, I usually meal prep on Saturdays, and that'll last me from Saturday to Wednesday, and then I meal prep again on Wednesday through Saturday. So I meal prep twice a week because I like to have. I noticed that I was only meal prepping on Sundays, and then I would like be really really hungry by Thursday and not really want the same food that I was eating. So instead, I started meal prepping twice a week. That way, I would have food for the weekend and also food for the week without it like going bad or just tasting weird after a while. So that's been really helpful for me. And then I usually eat out on like Fridays just because I'm a foodie and I'm not going to deny myself something that I want. But this practice of meal prepping twice a week has been really good for me. Even though I work from home, I like to have food already ready because it's one less decision that I have to make throughout the week. And if you have a lot of decisions and have to always think about like what you're going to wear and what you're going to eat, like you're wasting energy on decisions that like are not a big deal. So I'd rather keep all of my energy and focus and decision making skills for like business tasks and things that go out throughout the week. So that's what I got going on, and now I think it's time to do laundry after I put this away. Well, I really just have to fold it because I did it yesterday, thankfully. And while I fold it, I'm gonna watch a vlog. So for my people who hate doing laundry, I feel you. And something that has really helped me throughout the week is to do my loads as I'm going throughout the week. So I usually start my laundry on Wednesdays and I just do a load while I'm moving throughout. Like sometimes when I go downstairs to like heat up my lunch, I'll take the laundry with me, do a load. By the time I go back upstairs, it's ready to go. So then on Fridays and Saturdays, like whatever I have left over, I can just fold as I go. But one thing that has been really helpful for me is habit stacking. So if I know that I'm going to like watch TV or watch a vlog, I can do something that I don't enjoy doing and combine it with something that I do enjoy. So I don't necessarily enjoy folding laundry, but I do enjoy watching vlogs and like watching TV. So I will fold my clothes while I'm doing something like that, and that really helps me. Or sometimes like if I don't want to listen to anything, I might play a podcast in the background or play some music, or even like watching vlogs, right? Like when I watch people like reset their lives and stuff like that, it helps me to just have something playing while I'm doing what I need to do. So that's just a quick tip. It is really hot in my room, but I'm gonna fold my laundry, and while we do that, I'm going to be talking to you guys about why you need to stop overthinking, okay? I talk about this on the podcast a lot. The podcast is called Organize My Thoughts, where I'm helping you to get out of your head and really execute the vision that God has called you to do, whether it's multiple ideas or whether it's just one idea that He's going to take all the way. That's what the podcast is about. But specifically, when it comes to overthinking, I always say, like, you need to focus on executing instead of thinking, right? We spend so much time thinking about how something is going to work out, thinking about how people are going to receive it, right? That's one of the big things that stops us from moving forward is, oh my gosh, what if people don't like it? What if it's, not enough? What if they compare it to so-and-so and, they're doing it better than me? Or what if people think I sound stupid or look crazy? Or I need to wait until, I have this perfect setup, like if you're doing YouTube or something like that, I need to wait until I have a microphone and a fancy camera. We have so many things that could just go through our minds, but like if we just do the thing, like just do it, you can always improve it later. And so I think that's something that is really, it's as simple as it gets. Like you can improve on something that you haven't created yet. And some of the best things that are out right now started as just a prototype, which is something that is meant to be improved on. And I think that all of our ideas are meant to be improved on later, right? Like we have to have, everything starts as a seed. And so you have to have, when you have a seed, you know that when you plant that seed, it has the intention to grow. And I think that if we start thinking of our ideas that way as, okay, you know what, this is something that I intend to see grow and I'm going to have to nurture it along the way, it takes that pressure off of it of having to be perfect. Right? Like when I started this channel, I was like, I wanted to do YouTube for a long time. I feel like that's something that God was calling me to do. And I was like, oh, I need to wait until I move and, my cabinets are perfectly white and all this other stuff. And in reality, like I have a bunch of YouTubers that I watch that have perfectly white cabinets and, like they're everything's always like shiny clean, even on their reset days. And I was like, the majority of people are not like that, and that's okay. So I wanted to do something that was realistic, and it pushes me outside of overthinking and perfectionism, right? Because I want things to look great, but in reality, I don't have to wait until they are perfect to just start. So if you're somewhere and you're sitting on your idea because you just want everything to be perfect, like, know that you can perfect things along the way. There's even a scripture in the Bible that says that he will perfect those things which concern us, which basically means that we are always being perfected by God. And so if we as human beings, right, as God's children, are always being perfected by him, then that means that the things that we do are always going to go through a processing, a perfecting, and it just is what it is, you know? There's beauty in the process of something. So don't wait until things are all shiny and perfect. Don't wait until somebody else starts doing what you're doing and then being upset because you're like, oh, I should have started it first. Like, it doesn't matter who started it first. It doesn't matter how long somebody's been doing something. If God has called you to create, if he's called you to birth an idea, then there's room for you. It just is what it is. There are certain truths that are just what they are. If God has called you to do something, there is an intended audience for you. And I even want to talk about like another reason that keeps us overthinking, especially when it comes to like executing our ideas, is that we feel like, let me see, if you were someone, right, who is called to say maybe like coach or something, or to start a podcast or start a YouTube channel, and whatever you want to talk about, you feel like it's obvious information to you, so you're like, what's the point of sharing, right? That's where I was for a little bit, where I was like, why would I talk about something that I feel like people already know? But I think that's a dangerous assumption to make when it comes to executing your idea, is to assume that people already know. My background is in digital marketing also, so I do a lot of like back end research on what people, it's called SEO, but like I'm not gonna nerd y'all down. But basically I research, what people are searching for, so that I can use that to make sure that people are finding my content, my clients' content. But to say that, I have found that people will Google what seems like the most obvious things. And when you see that kind of behavior, you're like, oh, like, there's a body of people who really just do not know what it is that I'm going to be sharing. And just because it's obvious to me doesn't mean that it's obvious to somebody else. It's actually kind of like, it's a trick, right? Like, it's a voice that you hear from the enemy that was like, people already know this, you're wasting your time. And it's like, it's not true. Like, the way that you may communicate something to somebody, may just click differently, even if they heard it a million times. That's why we have so many pastors who are able, and then there are certain pastors that you connect with and certain ones that you don't, because there's something, it's the way that they're communicating that you're allowed to connect with, right? It's the same reason why we have so many grocery stores that sell the same things. You have different experiences as you go into these different stores, right? If you go to a Wegmans versus a Aldi's, it's a completely different experience, but most of the time they sell the same things. So when it comes to, executing your idea, you have to know that, like, there's a body of people waiting for what you have, and we're created to be solutions in the earth, right? We're not just here. You're not here for no reason. You're not here randomly. You're here for a purpose. And it's time for you to seek God and move on it, right? Like, life is not just about working your job, paying your bills, coming home, repeating that process every day until you're dead. Like, no. We're called to live abundant lives, and when I say abundant, I don't always mean like something super extravagant. Like, I believe that God calls us all to do whatever God has called you to in your respective work, no matter what it looks like to other people. It's important and it's relevant. But I'm just saying that, like, this mundane kind of like everyday going with emotions, this is not what God called us to do. Like, there's so much more on the inside of us that's just waiting. It's waiting for you to get out of your head and just do. If you don't take away anything else from this, execution, overthinking. Executing, overthinking. Executing, overthinking. Do the things, overthinking. When you're moving, you don't really have time to think, but you can always stop and revise later. That's one of the biggest things that has been so helpful for me in everything that God has called me to do, even the really uncomfortable things. There was a time where, even before I started my podcast, like, I was not a person to really share my opinion on anything. I've always had a lot of opinions, but I've always kind of been kind of reserved and more quiet. But so I never wanted to speak on a mic. I never wanted to be on camera, but that's what God called me to do. And I feel like God knew something about me that I didn't know. And when I started doing it, I started to love it. So like, even if God's called you to do something where you don't necessarily know if you're gonna like it or if you're gonna be good at it, like, God knows something about you that you don't know, and it's worth executing and moving forward to figure out what that thing is, because you will most likely begin to fall in love with whatever it is that God's doing. And even if it's not right away, like, God places desires in our heart because he knows us. Like, it's just mind-blowing. I don't want to do a whole rant, like, but if you're really interested in just how to get out of your head and execute, definitely listen to the Organize My Thoughts podcast, and get on my email list, because I'm always sending out tools and masterclasses and weekly content that will help you to do that, right? It takes time. You can click the link in the description to join my email list. It's called the Doers Community, and I send out a bi-weekly newsletter that has tips and scriptures, and soon things like audio devotionals, Bible studies, masterclasses, so much. So join that. And yeah, now I'm about to sit down and edit this vlog, and we have skating later, which I'm so excited. I love skating. It's gonna be super fun.